Hey guys, what's up? It's TheThirdKnight here and welcome to my Nightmare Zone AFK magic guide. Please note there is a high chance of the method I demonstrate in this guide being nerfed in the coming weeks or even days, as you can AFK for up to 12 hours or possibly even longer depending on the armor and items you have access to. The requirements for this method are to have the quests Tree Gnome Village, What Lies Below, Holy Grail, Lost City, Vampire Slayer, and Desert Treasure complete. You will need a minimum of 40 defense and 68 magic, however I would highly recommend 70 plus defense as well as 83 plus magic. I have seen players attempting this in full rune with around 40 defense, however low defense and armor significantly increases the chances of you dying within the dream, as does a lower magic level. For those of you with a lower magic level than recommended, I would suggest checking out the semi-AFKable smoke barraging guide by a fellow YouTuber Biduft, linked in the description below. Using his guide could get you to around 83 within a day or two from a low level. Now, to equipment. This is the equipment setup I would recommend, however, only use this as a base guideline. I am 70 defense, and at the time when I first started using this method, I was 83 magic. So if you are 80 defense or 90 defense, you could probably replace the Torag helm with a Farseer helm or Netsinot helm, and the Dragon boots with Mystic boots or Infinity boots. You may even be able to get away with replacing the Obby shield with a Zemrak book. Basically, if you have higher defense, you can balance your equipment to have higher magic attack and less melee defense, and if you are lower defense, you can balance your equipment to have lower magic attack and greater melee defense. For players with really low defense like Berserkers, you may need to use full rune or similar. I really do apologize as in this area I do not have a great deal of knowledge, as I have not seen many Zerkers attempting this, and I do not currently know what works best with them or whether they can even do it at all. No matter what setup you decide upon, always bring a Ring of Life in case you die within a dream and are attacked by a random event in the Nightmare Zone lobby. I have seen people losing mages books and other expensive items, and it certainly does not look like fun. Now to inventory. You'll need 24k GP to pay the booster in order to get into the dream. Each stream also costs an additional 2k, which must be placed into the coffers prior to inviting the booster. I also recommend bringing 2 full absorption potions so that you do not need to use prayer or food to stay alive whilst picking up the runes at the beginning of the dream, as that option will be much cheaper in most cases. However, if you feel that you need to bring food or prayer potions, go for it. Personally, I bring 3 prayer potions most of the time just in case of an emergency, but to be completely honest, I don't think I've ever even used them. For anyone using ARMs and other degradable equipment, I would recommend bringing along full rune or similar non-degradable high melee defense gear to wear upon entering the dream and whilst picking up the runes. That's just to maximize time in between repairs on degrading armor, and for those of you planning 12-hour trips with degradable armor. Remember to choose your inventory setup and equipment setup based on how long you'll be planning your trip to go for. So for example, players using Barrow's armor can last around 12 hours or slightly more, depending on how often they're hit, and players using non-degradable armor could theoretically last for infinite time. Just keep in mind that there is risk involved with how long you wish your trip to last, as you'll be required to pick up the amount of bloodburst runes required to last that long. With on average 1k bloodbursts equaling 1 hour of Nightmare Zone, you may need 12k bloodbursts for a really long trip. This is 48k Chaos runes, 24k Death runes, and 24k Blood runes, which takes around 20 minutes to pick up, and it's pretty painful to do, to be completely honest. And in the instance you do disconnect or lose power, or something similar occurs, it can certainly be a pain picking that number of runes up again in a new dream. Just the other night I was setting up to AFK with 10k blood bursts all nice and ready in my inventory, and somehow I exited my browser right at the beginning of the trip. Suffice to say, I was not pleased. However, all of this said, this method is truly amazing. On average, the XP rates are from a minimum of 30k XP an hour to 50k XP an hour, with probably about half that in hit points XP, and you could cast offensively if you wanted defense XP on top of that as well for a slight magic XP sacrifice. Now, that XP isn't great, but given you can literally set up for a 6-hour trip in 10 minutes or a 12-hour trip in 20 minutes, and then be completely AFK while you sleep, while you go to work, or while you're going to school, it's pretty damn good. For anyone wondering about the 6-hour log that occurs if you've been logged into a world for 6 hours in one session, that doesn't affect you, as you'll be in combat until you run out of runes or die within the dream. I will now show you exactly how to do it. You might have been wanting me to jump straight into this, however preparation for an activity such as this is the key to maximizing your time spent on it. To begin with, log into world 369, go to your new bank and set up your equipment and inventory. Then head to the Nightmare Zone lobby, which is just northwest of the bank. Right click Dominic and select Dream. Choose a normal rumble. You will need to have 2k in the coffers for this to work, so if you haven't already, deposit at least 2k into the coffers and talk to Dominic again. This will put you in a normal rumble party by yourself. Enter the small square area next to Dominic and invite a booster. You will be able to tell who is a booster as there will be a low combat level, and when you right click and select invite, it will show you a list of the bosses Count Draenor, King Road, Tree Spirit, Black Knight Titan and the Khazad Warrior. You can also join the clan chat NMZ space magic to verify boosters if you're really worried about it, but from level 65 to 97 I so far have not been scammed once. Once they have joined the party, give them the 24k as payment. And then drink the potion in the middle of the waiting area. Accept and you will be taken into the dream. Now the booster will leave. Sip your absorption potions until there are none left, or put your protect from melee prayer on if that is what you chose. Ensure auto retaliate is off. If you are temporarily using non-degradable melee armor, put that on, and now you need to pick up the total number of runes that you desire for the length of your trip. These will be blood bursts, so that is 4 chaos runes, 2 death runes and 2 blood runes per cast. Pick up 300 of one of the type of runes that you need, then discard them, then pick up another 300, and repeat this process until you have the desired amount of runes for your trip. Please note this works exactly the same as the drop trick. At this stage, the monsters will spawn in and attack you. Try your best not to misclick and move, as when you have them standing on top of the runes and you're trying to pick up the runes, it's going to be much more difficult if they're standing on top of them. In the instance that you do get the monsters coming over to you in a clump and you are struggling to pick up the runes, then just run over to the other side where there are more rune spawns. Finally, once you've picked up all the runes, stand in the spot I show in this video. Some people stand in slightly different spots, but I've found this spot works fine. Set auto cast to blood burst and then set auto retaliate to on, and if you're wearing non-degrading armor for the purpose of not degrading your barriers equipment whilst picking up the runes, change out of that now into the barriers equipment, and that is it. You can now just leave your character AFK while he mindlessly casts Bloodburst. If you do die whilst attempting this, it will most likely be because of the Black Knight Titans, as they seem to have the highest defense to magic and they hit the hardest. But hopefully this will not occur if you have been following my recommendations. You can get up to 75k magic XP an hour doing this with someone else in the same AFK session as you, as the more people you get into the dream, the more monsters that will spawn. However, you will need to stand in a slightly different spot as shown in the video at the moment. I haven't really been able to do this much because I haven't known other people AFKing, and sometimes people are just offline when I want to AFK, but it's definitely worth doing if you can find a partner or partners to do it with. I'm not sure how the method differs for more than 2 people, and I do apologize that I cannot cover that much in this guide. However, I am sure it would be pretty much the same as an AFK duo. So that's it guys, I hope you've been able to follow along easily enough. I've tried my best to get this guide out as soon as possible. If I hadn't just come back from a trip, I would have had this uploaded sooner. This is worthwhile while you sleep, or while you work, or while you're at school. There is no such thing as XP waste with this method, and before you know it, you could have Ice Barrage and 99 magic. I will place potential equipment and inventory setups in the description of this video, just to give you guys some ideas of different combinations you could use. Also, feel free to comment what combinations work for you, and I might be able to include some of them in the description of this video as well. I really would love to cover as many possible combinations as possible, but it is super difficult given I cannot test this method using a lower defense or higher defense account, and I don't really want to be basing my recommendations off of estimates. Thanks very much for watching guys, and I'll see you next video.